Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Loomigurumi Avery duck squishmallow. However, I'm actually going to be making Della, which is the pink version of Avery, today. I'll put a photo on screen. This is Avery, the actual one, except I have like the football one. I don't have the original, but you get the vibe. So this pattern is really simple. Like if this is your first ever Loomigurumi, I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. So colour wise for Della instead of Avery, it's the exact same pattern, just changing the colours because it's still a duck. For the green, I'm going to be using this jelly pink, and then for the brown, I'm going to be using this what is it? Pearl baby pink. And then for the stomach is pinkish beige, I think it's called. And then same colour I used for Avery is just going to be the jelly yellow. And then for the same white as well. So what you'll need is you're going to get all your band colours out. A stitch marker. I'm using the one from the Rainbow Loomigurumi kit. I'm also using the Loomigurumi hook from the frog kit, but you don't have to. You can literally just use a normal Rainbow Loom hook. And this is again optional, is a slip hook. You don't need this because you can just use a hook. I just find this one doesn't pull on the stuffing on the inside as much. You're going to need 2 safety eyes, and I usually glue them in. You don't have to do this. I just get really nervous about it coming apart. So, and sometimes I put a sneaky bit of glue like under here, just cause, and then like on the nose. But that's like, again, completely optional. I just get paranoid, and I just found out I got pen on my finger. Let's ignore that. Oh, and you're gonna need stuffing. So, I know people use cotton wool balls. That's fine too. Or you can use not anything. So the first thing we're going to start off is where the green is. So I'm thinking if there's like more simpler squishmallows, like this sort of shape, I reckon you could probably adapt the pattern to make a different kind of squishmallow. Since I'm using the same pattern to do a different duck, I feel like you could always use this as a base as well. So we're going to start with where the green is. So I'm using pink for that, and you want to do a cap band 3 times on the hook. You want to do 6 single crochets inside of the cap band. So pull the cap band over the band, put that on back on your hook, and then pull that one through. And then go back into all 3 loops of the cap band. Pull another band through, put it on your hook, and then pull through the last 2. And then another 4 times. It should look like that. And then you want to put the stitch marker on the band on your hook, like that. So we're going to increase in every single stitch now. So you want to go into the next stitch, which is right here. This part is part of that, so just ignore it and go into here. And then make a single crochet in there, and then go in the same stitch again, because this is an increase in there again. So you want 2 stitches in every single thing. When you get to the part where the stitch marker is, you still want to go into that. So do 2 in here as well. And then once you've done the 2 in there, you can take out the stitch marker and put it on the one on your hook like that. And then we can start the next row. So the next row is 1 single crochet and 1 increase 6 times. So you'd put 1 single crochet in the next stitch and 2 in the next. So single increase all the way around. I'll do 1 little round with you, like, and then I'll cut it. So 1 single crochet in there, and then an increase in the next stitch, like that, and then do it until you get to the stitch marker. And you're always gonna put a stitch where this is, so that would mark your last stitch, and then you can move the stitch marker upwards. After you've done the 1 single crochet, 1 increase, it should look a bit like this. And then now it's 5 single crochet, 1 increase 3 times. You probably found this out already, but I haven't been saying how many stitches you'll have in each row, but I'll put it on the screen, but you probably already know that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an increase, so 2 in the same stitch, 1, 2, and then all again. So you should be able to do it, fit 2 more of that sequence in here. Okay, I've done that round. The next is 4 rows of single crochet only. So rows 5, 6, 7 and 8 is single crochets all around. So I feel like that's easy enough where I can just cut it until I've done that. I've finished those 4 rows and it should be looking something like this. The next row is the exact same, except we're going to switch to the white. So that's this row of white right here. So when you switch to a new colour, instead of doing a normal crochet, what we're going to do is we're going to actually pull it through that pink one as well, and then like slip stitch it. It just makes it a little more cleaner. But you only need to do that on the first band where you switch colours. The rest of it is just normal, like that. So after that, I'm just going to move my stitch marker up. It should look like this. Now, this is where it gets a little confusing, because this looks like a stitch, except it's just the bottom half of the slip knot. So the next stitch is in there, so ignore that part. But we're switching colours again. It's going to be where the brown is on here. So that, for me, that's these pearl pink bands. Oh my god. Look at that. I've never had that before. It's because they're different like material. That's actually quite satisfying. Like to break them up. I love that. They're thick as shit. Let's see, I might have to change that because I don't know how well these are going to work with Loomigurumi. Look how thick that is. Oh my god. Okay, so slip stitch your first one. Oh my god, it's huge. What the? Look, they're all stuck together. That's mental. Alright, how is this going to work? They're like really like, it's weird. There's like, what's the opposite of slick? Like, they don't like flow well on the hook. It looks cool though. I'll come back when I've done that and see how well these bands work, because that is great. That actually looks so cool. I also forgot to say that the belly is separate, so for the rest of until we get to the bottom is just going to be, for me, the pearl pink. This will tackle after. So I've finished that. These bands were really difficult to crochet with. I probably wouldn't recommend that, but I don't have a lighter pink or enough of a different light pink other than that, but I needed that for the belly. So, but it does look cool. So now we're going to start decrease rounds. The next one is 5 single crochets and 1 decrease. So you do 5 normal, and then when I get to the decrease, I'll show you how to do that. So to do a decrease, get 1 band, but we're going to use 2 stitches, so it'll start getting a bit smaller. But you're going to go into the first. So you see how every stitch has like 2 things? You want to go into the first one of the next stitch, and then the next stitch go into the one on the outside. So you've got 1 loop from 2 stitches, so you've got 2 on your hook, and then pull a band through those 2, put that back on, and then pull it through the last 2 loops on your hook, and then 5 again, and then a decrease. So that is 3 times around, as in 5 decrease, 5 decrease, 5 decrease. So I'm on the last decrease now, but it comes into where the stitch marker is, but you still want to just do it as normal. So the first loop of the next stitch and the last loop of the next one, pull a band, put it back on, and then pull through, and then you can move your stitch marker up. Next round is the exact same, except it's 4 single crochets, 1 decrease. So 1 2 3 4 decrease, 1 2 3 4 decrease, and that is 3 times. And next it's gonna be 1 single crochet, 1 decrease all around. So, and then after that round you can start stuffing, or you can start stuffing now if you feel like it, but I'm gonna stuff it after this round. All right, so now I'm gonna start stuffing it. With the stuffing, I usually like to roll it up because then it's less likely to poke out the sides. You can take your hook out if you have a stitch marker on, and then just... So obviously it's a squishmallow, so I would leave some like squish room, especially because squishmallows are kind of like, this one's not, but like they're usually like thinner on the sides, right? Like thinner here rather than, and they're wider on the front. So I would leave some squish room, and then if you squish it down, it sort of gives that same wide here, skinnier here. And also you see where we put the slip stitches, if you want to squish that onto the back, and then you can use the other side as the front, it just looks more cleaner. And now what we can do is decrease everything until it closes. So the decreases, I've already done 2, a little hard to get to because the hole's so small, but if you like put it under the whole stitch and then only grab that one, and then the top one here is easy, and then decrease like that. And then the last one, which is on the stitch marker, what I'm going to do is just grab the whole thing, not decreasing again, add a band through everything, and then slip stitch it and pull it. You can pull this out now. So now that's tied off. Now you can just use your hook for this, but I like to use the slip hook. So I'm just going to stick it in the side and then out to the top, wrap that band in there and pull, and then let go. So it's hidden in there now, and we've got the base of the Squishmallow. Now we're going to make all the add-ons, which is the wings, which we'll need 2 of, 1 beak and 1 belly. I'm going to do the beak first. We only need 7 bands of yellow for the beak. So you want to do a cap band of 3. And then chain 2. So almost like you're just making a single chain. So cap band on the hook, put it back on. So you've got 2 loops on your hook, and then pull another one through, So cap band, chain 1, chain 2, and then you want to put 3 single crochets in this one. So forget this chain, you want to go into that one, just through the middle is fine, and do single crochets. So obviously you're gonna have a lot of more bands on your hook, but you're just gonna pull the one closest to the end of your hook through everything, and then back in, and two more normal ones. So this will just be like you were doing before. So in there, it looks a bit weird, but just trust the process. And then you're gonna go inside the cap band and pull through everything and slip stitch like that. That it's gonna look really odd, but that's just how I've made it and how it works. So most of the beak goes inside of the Squishmallow, so you'll pull later on, we'll pull the cap band through, so it's just this bit sticking out. Trust me, it's fine. Now we're going to do the belly. So this part, for me, it's going to be pinkish beige. You want to do another triple cap band, and then do 3 single crochets in a magic ring. So pull the cap band over, put it back on, and then pull that through, back in the cap band, and then another 2 crochets, 1 and 2, so like this. And now we're going to slip stitch into the cap band. So pull through everything and then like that, but don't pull it tight. And then we're going to turn it, so we're going back over the stitches we just made. So in the first, so there should be 3 stitches. You want to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then in the middle stitch, you're going to do an increase. So an increase in the middle stitch, and then another single in the last one, like that. So it should start to form this way rather than downwards, or like in a circle, so it should just be like more like a semicircle. And now we're going to turn it again, so turn it this way, and we'll just be, you might want it, because if your band starts to twist, you should just be able to take your hook out and put it back in the right way so there's no twist on it. Now usually in like crochet you would chain 1, but we're not going to do that. So you see where this stitch is next to the hook, I'm going to go in there and do 1 single crochet in this one, and then the middle 2 you're going to do increase, and then in the last one you just do a single. So I'll cut it here and then you can do that. So I've done that. Next one, you're going to turn it again. My band's not twisted, so I'm not going to switch my hook round. And now it's 2 singles, 2 increases and 2 singles. So 1 stitch in each of these, 2 stitches in there, 2 stitches in there, and then 1. After that round, the belly is done. We'll attach it later, but for now I'm just gonna put a C-clip or something on the end of it. So next we want to make the wings, so I've just made one off camera, and then I'll show you how to do the next one. So obviously you want to make 2 of these, so I'll make one with you on camera, and then you can pause and make another. It wants to be in the same colour as this part, so on this it's the same as the brown. We're going to do 6 single crochets in a magic ring, so a cap band 3 times. I am just going to skip this part because you've already done many magic rings in this tutorial, so I'll come back when I've finished that. Okay, so that is 6 single crochets in a magic ring, and now it's 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and then an increase, these bands, like this type of band, tend to twist a lot in Loomigurumi, but I actually don't mind it so much because it shows off the pearl side a little more. So you're gonna do just single, increase, single, increase, single, increase until you get to the stitch marker. So it should start to like curl up, which is exactly what we want because it's like it's got quite a thick wing, so it's like double-sided basically. Next one's pretty easy. You just want to do 9 single crochets around the whole thing until you get to the stitch marker, so I'll cut and then you can do that. That is 9 single crochets around the top done, and now we want to like squeeze it together and slip stitch 4 slip stitches. So you're only going to see 3, but like 3 possible ones. I will get to it in a minute. So you want to go into 1 stitch and then the one on the other side, pull a band through everything including the one on your hook, and slip stitch, go into the next 2, so 1 on each side, slip stitch, and then the next one. Now the next one is gonna look like there is no stitches. Just grab a load and hope for the best, because we sort of need 4 stitches to attach it to the body, so it should look something like that. And now we can start attaching things. We can do the face first. So the eyes want to go 1 row above the first row of pink, so stick 1 in there and the other one. So count 3 stitches and then put it, so there should be 3 stitches between each eye, and then in this middle bit here is where the beak should go. So on the beak, the slip stitch we did at the end, I'm actually gonna undo it, and I'm gonna undo it and keep it on my hook like this. Then on the face, you see this stitch, so this is gonna be where the beak is. The stitch right underneath it, take 1 end off of the hook, and these like 2 loops here, you want to grab them. So these 2, put that yellow end back on and pull through everything, and then give that a pull. Now get the slip stitch, the slip hook, or just your normal hook, and grab that end, and then you want to pull that right through. You want to basically put your hook through the middle of the beak and literally just like pull it through. Your eyes actually might come out. So put your hook through the whole thing and grab the cap band, so that's 3 loops of the cap band, and pull them through. So it should like go into the face a little bit. Well, not a little bit, quite a lot actually. Literally just like give them a huge tug, and then you can fix it so it just secures it a bit better. So once you've sort of fiddled around with it, it should look something like that. I'm actually just going to glue the eyes in because they're already starting to come out. So if you're going to do this, I just literally just put it on the sides and then shove it in. We're now going to attach the belly, and we want to attach it in 3 places. So it would be the end, the middle, and this end. So with the belly, what you want to do is actually undo this last stitch like that, and then get a belly band and slip stitch those 2, and then what we're going to do is like go through loads of stitches on here, just like all these loops, as many as you can. Grab that end and pull through all of them. So this is just hiding that last end, because if you don't, it'll be really loose on the body. So that end, it doesn't matter if it's sticking out, because that's going to be on this side of the body anyway. So it's actually easier to secure the top first. So just pick the top stitch, and then you want to sort of do it just below the beak. Skip 1 row and then come just under it, and then you want to pick a belly colour band and slip stitch like that. So we'll tuck these in later. But now you want to go right into the corner. Again, like no specific stitch you need to do. And try and pick something where it's more underneath the belly, so it's easier to hide. So, and then slip stitch that, and then one on the other corner. So that should be about here. Slip stitch. And then I'm going to use the slip hook to pull in all the ends. The last thing is to add the wings. So I'll do one with you, and then I'll do the next one off camera. I'm going to take out the C-clip. You want to stitch them onto the white row. So you see on this, it's like attached to the white. So with the slip stitch you did at the end, again, you want to just undo it and find that stitch. So go in them 2 white, and then pull a band through like that through everything. Pull it through everything, put it back on your hook and slip stitch, and then find the next slip stitch in here. So for me that's this one, and then the next white. So you're just picking up the 2 loops. And then slip stitch, but don't pull it tight, because then it will be really loose. I'm going to do the same again through that one, slip, stitch, but not tight. And then the last one's a little difficult because there's like not really a stitch there, but you just want to grab anything you can and then find the last one, and then this one you can pull tight because then we're gonna just slip stitch, not use a slip hook to like pull that in. So that's one wing on. I'll do the other one off camera and then we're all finished. There she is. And then Avery. This one is actually slightly bigger, but I think it's due to these bands because or I put a little more stuffing in it, but these bands are like huge, so I'm thinking that's why. But either way, there they are. Yeah, because like it's the same pattern, but look at the size difference on the wings. It's definitely the bands that is making it look bigger, but there they are. How cute. Okay, bye.